have short-term some little pain, and people understand that.
Today on the Morning Edition, America sits on the verge of an emerging trade war as President Trump imposes new tariffs on neighboring nations. What this could mean for your pocketbook. Plus, lawmakers take on a big decision this morning. Should Alaska increase education funding? The debate comes after a stunning report shows the state ranks dead last in fourth grade math and reading. And later, young engineers from across the state put their Lego skills to the test, competing for a spot at nationals. But it's not just about robots. These teams are also tackling real-world problems as the Morning Edition starts now. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us here on a Monday, starting off a new week into a new month. Same kind of a weather story, though, I understand.
Yeah, we're still on the chillier side, but the good news is we will warm into the 20s here over the next couple of days, and we've got plenty of sunshine that's going to carry us through a large portion of this week as well. Now, taking a look from as you head out towards Hilltop, you can see as you look off into the distance, we've got some of those translucent clouds. That's some freezing fog that's beginning to settle into parts of South Central. So take it easy this morning as you get out on the roadways. Now, what we are going to be watching is if this fog makes it down to the surface along the hillside and some of those higher elevations. That is where we are dealing with that freezing fog this morning. And those temperatures, they're holding at 8 degrees here in Anchorage. Winds remaining on the calm side. And we are going to see a fairly quiet week across a large portion of South Central, even into parts of the interior, as this ridge of high pressure we were talking about last week remains with us. Now, we are seeing those temperatures fairly cold as you head down, through the Anchorage Bowl, 2 degrees in Campbell Creek, 8 in Muldoon. However, as you head into those higher elevations, we've got that warm air inversion that's beginning to settle back in place. That's allowing for that formation of that freezing fog. You can see out towards parts of the hillside where those temperatures are sitting in the upper 20s. Even as you head out towards Rendezvous Peak, out towards Arctic Valley, those temperatures are already beginning to hover near freezing this morning. So that warm air inversion is with us, and that is going to allow for the possible potential for some freezing fog development this morning. 7 below in Talkeetna, as well as 17 below in Golcana. Out towards the coast, we've got the teens and the 20s. So still cold, but nowhere near as cold as what we did see last week with that bitter cold snap across a large portion of the state. There's our ridge of high pressure that's going to influence our weather for a large portion of this week. Meanwhile, out west, this is where we're going to hold on to that wet and windy weather pattern. We're already seeing temperatures along the slope, certainly sitting on the warmer side in the 20s this morning as we continue to see a well above average warmth taking hold across the slope areas out west. This is where we're going to see those temperatures warming upper 20s, lower 30s, even some 40s as you head out towards the Aleutians. Here across South Central into the interior, we do see a slow warming through a large portion of this week while colder weather stays with us for southeast. I'll have more on that in that 7-day forecast for you coming up.
New this morning, Alaskans are bracing for higher prices on just about everything after President Trump signed an executive order over the weekend imposing tariffs on imports from our nation's allies. Canada and Mexico are now planning their own tariffs in retaliation. Naomi Ruckham has the fallout.
America is on the verge of an international trade war after President Donald Trump signed an order imposing 25% tariffs on neighbors Canada and Mexico, along with an additional 10% levy on goods from China. The order takes effect just after midnight Tuesday.
We may have short-term some little pain, and people understand that, but long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world.
Both Canada and Mexico have promised tariffs of their own in response, and even some Republicans are questioning the move.
It will drive the cost of everything up. I mean, why would you want to get in a fight with your allies over this?
The tariffs, just one of multiple monumental moves coming out of the new administration over the weekend. In a conversation on X overnight, leader of the new Department of Government Efficiency, Elon Musk, spoke on the future of the U.S. Agency for International Development, which may move under State Department leadership.
Which we're in the process of doing, shutting down USAID.
CBS News has learned at least 2 top USAID security officials have been placed on leave after denying DOJ personnel access to classified materials. Also this week, President Trump is set to meet with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in the president's first meeting with a foreign leader since returning to office, and the two are expected to discuss victory over Hamas. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
And on immigration, the Trump administration is terminating a program that currently protects hundreds of thousands of Venezuelan migrants in the U.S. from deportation, paving the way for many of them to lose their legal status this spring. False reports of immigration and customs enforcement agents in Juneau sent some tribal members rushing to get new IDs. The local tribal office received about 300 requests this week. Officials say there's no ICE presence in the city, but still encourage members to update their identification.
So I think that just the fear of the unknown is what is getting a lot of people too. And so we just want our citizens to be sure that they have a form of ID with them.
Juneau's mayor and police department say there are no immigration and customs enforcement agents in the city. However, a regional ICE representative could not confirm or deny that claim. Parents and staff waking up to a stark reality. Anchorage schools are facing a $100 million deficit for the next school year. The district blames low state funding and rising costs, saying the base student allocation hasn't kept up with inflation. Layoffs and cuts seem inevitable even if funding increases. School officials say the current situation is unsustainable. The board will address the budget during the upcoming school board work session and general meeting tomorrow, February 4th. And facing budget cuts, the Fairbanks School District plans to close Pearl Creek Elementary, but parents have a different idea. They're proposing turning it into a magnet school, a plan that's gaining support. They say it could benefit both the district and the University of Alaska Fairbanks while costing less than existing K-8 magnet programs.
The figure that the school board presented when they talked about the magnet school costing more was looking at Barnett, which is a K-8. And so the amount they said that it costs in addition was special teachers coming in for that 6th, 7th, 8th grade specialties. So that expense wouldn't actually exist. Our principal, Mrs. Henderson, has crunched numbers, and she's proposing to open a STEAM magnet school without any additional costs.
Turman says the reduced costs would be the result of a kindergarten through 5th grade system that would not require more staff. We have a link to a survey for the concept on our website and mobile app. Covering the Capitol, lawmakers this morning are set to debate a possible increase to the base student allocation after Governor Mike Dunleavy introduced a sweeping education bill on Friday. Education Commissioner Dina Bishop also spoke and highlighted Alaska's ranking last in 4th grade math and reading, calling it a wake-up call to reevaluate school funding.
That strong policy, coupled with our financial investments, directly impacts student learning. Alaska's students and educators are more than capable of success, and I look forward to the progress ahead.
House Bill 76 and Senate Bill 82 do not change the school funding formula, but would boost funding for homeschooling, career education, and districts with growing enrollment. Schools would also receive $450 per student in grades K through 6 who meet reading standards. The bills also propose limiting student cell phone use, except in special cases. Over the weekend, a small Cessna crash landed near Merrifield on Sunday afternoon. You can see there from that video, the small Cessna crashed nose first into the snow. Investigators say engine failure likely caused the emergency landing at Penland Parkway Mall. Despite the dramatic scene, all passengers walked away unharmed. And a massive boulder still blocking mile 219 of the George Parks Highway after a January 24th avalanche is about to meet its match. Explosives, according to the Fairbanks Daily News Miner. The rock is too big for heavy equipment, so crews will blast it apart this morning. So if you live in the Denali or Cantwell area, expect a power outage around 10 a.m. as the blast happens near power lines. Traffic will be stopped in both directions for up to 45 minutes while crews clear the road. Up next, 2 Alaska teachers are adding up to success, earning a prestigious presidential award for excellence in math and science and a $10,000 prize. How this honor is bringing innovative teaching strategies to the classroom. And later, skiing for a cause. Hundreds of women took to the trails for the 29th annual Alaska Ski for Women with costumes, races, and a bigger purpose. How these ladies are making tracks for change.
Warming hold taking across parts of Alaska today. We are expected to see temperatures well above average along the slope and out west. I'll have more on that in a 7-day forecast. But first, Anchorage, sunrise 9:13, 7:57 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Morning, everyone. Back here on your Monday. So for Groundhog Day, the Alaska Zoo turned to a different furry forecaster, an Arctic ground squirrel named Grub. So in the past, the zoo has used a variety of animals, including this little porcupine named Sasha. But as for Grub's prediction, let's just say that he's not bringing any more spring vibes. Grub saw his shadow, which means 6 more weeks of whatever Mother Nature is calling this season. Aaron, I mean, winter, spring, I'm not quite sure yet.
I was going to say, do we even really have a winter?
Yeah.
We kind of had, mixes here and there where those days were a bit on the chillier side. We saw that last week, and then we began to see a warming trend take hold through the weekend. This morning, we are waking up to 8 degrees in Anchorage, 12 degrees in Fairbanks, where we are seeing some freezing fog this morning, 12 as well in McGrath, and then along the slope and out west. This is where we're seeing the most pronounced warming taking hold as that ridge has been building back in across the state. 28 degrees in Nome, and then out towards the Aleutians, we've got those temperatures in the 30s and the 40s. Juneau waking up this morning to a single-digit low. But for a large portion of the state, we are seeing those temperatures continuing to warm. Dead Horse, nearly 20 degrees warmer than this time yesterday. So a warming trend has been taking hold across the state. Now, here across South Central, we're not going to see much in the way of any significant warming. We'll see daily highs sitting in the upper teens and the lower 20s. We are on the drier side this morning. We are seeing some clouds out west. Those may build into parts of South Central, but for the most part, we are going to sit up under those clear to mostly clear skies. There's that ridge. You can see how pronounced it is across the state. Notice out towards southeast, we've got that northerly flow that's funneling in those colder conditions. That's why you're waking up this morning and really through the weekend to some of the coldest conditions you've seen so far this season. So that ridge remains with us. However, here over the next couple of days, that ridge is going to begin to flatten and shift a bit further to the south. What that means for us here in South Central is pretty much the same scenario each and every day, with daily highs sitting right around that low to mid-20s and plenty of sunshine sticking around in the forecast. As that ridge shifts to the south, any moisture that rides in over the periphery of that ridge could lead to some light snow showers through parts of the interior later this week, where we could be watching some additional snow showers in the forecast. But for now, we do stay on the drier side. We've got that wet and windy weather for areas out west where we're continuing to see that southerly flow. But there it is as we welcome in the middle of the week. We're going to be watching this band of some snow through western parts of Alaska. That's going to shift east along parts of that ridge and could bring some light snow showers through parts of the interior. So for that 7-day forecast for Fairbanks, you can see temperatures staying in the teens. We've got that chance for some PM snow Tuesday, and then that carries us through at least Thursday. Colder weather by Friday, and then we're back in the teens as we welcome in the weekend. Across South Central, we've got clear and cold conditions, still watching for those gap winds from Seward out towards Whittier and Valdez, where we could see those winds gusting as high as about 40 miles per hour. 25 degrees today in Whittier, 2 below in Golcana. So we're still seeing those colder conditions through the Copper River Basin. Upper teens and lower 20s through the valley. Still expecting those chilly mornings with many areas dipping into the single digits, if not the teens. So a lot warmer compared to what we did see last week. But that 7-day forecast showing daily highs sitting right around the 20s, nowhere near the warmth that we did see for a large portion of last month. We're going to be, for the most part, near or slightly below average this week. And then you can see into the weekend, temperatures warm into the mid-20s. There is the possibility next week we could see highs climbing near freezing.
All right. Thanks, Aaron, for the update. Well, preserving Alaska's indigenous languages is a growing challenge, but one group is starting young. Eric Soul explores how a language learning app, now a 4-time award winner, is helping the next generation connect to their heritage.
Aklut beads.
You're hearing cultural preservation.
Now it is your turn to say it. Aklut.
It's an app designed to help teach the Suxton language to preschool-aged children.
Nunaka means my village.
Nunaka was designed by Chugachmute, a consortium serving the tribes of Alaska's Chugach region, the area of Alaska mostly along the coast of the Kenai Peninsula, where Suxton would be spoken.
20 years ago, it was only taught in homes by parents who felt that it was an important thing.
Chamai.
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 It makes you practice.
Chugachmute's educational director says there's likely less than 30 fluent speakers left in the Chugach region.
Chamai.
All of our communities have in common that Suxton has been critically endangered for all of my lifetime. And the rate of endangerment is just getting worse with each year.
It took about 10 years to make Nunaka a reality.
I started this journey in 2012, and I first started trying to find funding for this game.
The idea is to take the lessons to the student.
Nowadays, so much of the community is spent online, so we really saw that going into the phones, getting the kids access where they spend most of their time is really important.
It's a teaching tool used in the Head Start programs in Nanwalek and Port Graham.
Language preservation begins really in early childhood.
Nunaka has been recognized with national and international awards.
My friend started hearing her language in her home from across just in the other room.
But the real awards will be in the preservation.
She went over to see what happened, and she realized her daughter had found this game and had downloaded it and was playing the game. And it was one of the first times that she had heard Sukhtun in her home.
Now it's your turn to say it. Shamai.
When our mission is related to preserving our cultures, it should also require us to invest in our languages.
The plan is to create new layers in Nunaka to grow more lessons as the learners grow.
The more youth that are engaging, the more lively the language.
Eric Soul, Alaska's news source.
If you're interested in Nunaka, it is free in the App Store. Well, two Alaska educators have earned the Presidential Teaching Award for Excellence in Math and Science and a $10,000 prize. Chugiak High's Lori Templeton and Wasilla High's Robin Lockwood haven't taken their White House trip just yet, but the honor has already brought them together, bonding over a math teaching program called Amped on Algebra.
When Lori and I were announced as state finalists in 2023, we went out to pizza, and she told me, this is my first year of trying Amped, and my chin dropped to the floor because I was like, I need to know everything about it. Is it cool? Is it as cool as I have read about? And she was like, you have to do it.
You're using the math in ways that make sense, but you're doing it less just hearing about it. So yes, I do take time for a lecture, but that's after they've had time to play. So you do it, you get your hands in it, and then we talk about it so that we have that opportunity for them to just see that they've been doing it.
Both Lockwood and Templeton tell us they didn't expect to become career teachers, but now believe that this is the job that they were meant for. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically and stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.